Hello students, welcome back to this session. We are presently doing Module 5 of the course Analog and Digital Electronics. In the Module 5, we started with, in the first session, a brief look at the decade counter and a bit of presettable counters. Now moving on, let us try to do a design synthesis problem. So this session basically is now called as the counter design as a synthesis problem. So what are the learning outcomes for this particular session? Upon successful completion of this session, the students should be able to design the counter as a finite state machine, which we call as an FSM. So what exactly is a FSM? That we'll see in the next slide. For example, let us say the design problem that is given to us is to design a mod 6 counter. So to design a mod 6 counter, we follow an approach of what we call as finite state machine. What is a finite state machine? So basically, the first thing that we have to realize is, if we were to implement a mod 6 counter, the number of states would be 6. They would go from all the way from 000 to 101, which is 0 to 5. To do that, we understand that we require at least 3 bits. Because using 2 bits, we can only do up to 0, 1, 2 and 3, which is mod 4. So if we want mod 6, we have to move to 3 bits. So in this case, basically first we go and write what are all the stable states for this mod 6 counter. So as shown in the diagram here, this is called as a finite state machine. It shows all the stable states this particular circuit can take and the sequence of the change of states, that is, how does it change from one state to another. Since we need to implement a binary sequence, we are going to do a binary counter starting from 0 all the way up to 5 and back to 0. So the counts are going to be like this. So this you can think it as a 3-bit number. If it's a 3-bit number, let us call this as a C, B and A, where C is called as the most significant bit or MSB, while A is called as the LSB, which is the least significant bit. Now each of these are nothing but a flip-flop. Let us say we go ahead and use a JK flip-flop, which is the most versatile flip-flop, which ensures that it can never go into a runaway state. We do not have any race state in a JK flip-flop. It can either be in a memory state, set state, reset state, or it can be in a toggle state, or I can say a toggle mode rather. So that means what? If you consider each of these C, B and A as one of the flip-flops, then we analyze the way they change the states individually. For example, initially let us say the values are 0, 0 and 0. Next time when the clock pulse comes, I want the counter to indicate 0, 0, 1. So let us write it as 0, 0, 1. What does this mean? This means at the first clock edge, my flip-flop A will transition from 0 to 1, whereas the other two flip-flops B and C will continue to remain at 0. So the first mode is called as either a set mode, since we are going from 0 to 1, or we can also call it as a toggle mode. Why? Because I can go from 0 to 1 means it's toggle, I can go from 0 to 1 means it is set also, while 0 to 0 is simply a memory mode. So in this way, we can think of this entire thing as transitioning from one value to another value. When the next clock cycle comes, what should the count indicate? The count is going to indicate 0, 1 and 0. That means A will toggle from 1 to 0. You can visualize this as a toggle mode, or is there any other way we can visualize this? Yes, we can also visualize this as a reset mode or a clear mode, because I am changing the flip-flop output to 0. If the previous output was 1, I am also doing a toggle. So it can be a toggle mode or a clear mode. While what happens to the flip-flop B now? Now the flip-flop B is changing the state. Since it is binary, it has to go from 0 to 1. So it can either be a set state, set mode, or it can be a toggle mode. While C continues to be in the memory mode, which is it remains at what its previous output was. It can also be thought of in terms of a clear mode, yes or no, because if the previous output is 0, if the next output wants to be 0, I can either go to memory mode or I can go to what is called as a clear mode. So this way we can handle these individually and try to write what we call as the state transition table for each of the flip-flops, and then try to find out some logic for what should be the value of j, what should be the value of k for each of these flip-flops. So let us say we are going to have 3 flip-flops, C, B and A. All of these are JK flip-flops. So if these are JK flip-flops, let us call their inputs as JA and KA for flip-flop A, JB and KB for flip-flop B, JC and KC for flip-flop C, and all of them are going to be clocked. So let us now then write the state transition table, but before I go there, let us do a bit of a recap as to how we can write the values for set, reset, toggle or memory state. For that we need to go back to our basics of visiting the JK flip-flop. So what exactly was a JK flip-flop? If it is a JK flip-flop, the inputs are going to be J and K. For the sake of simplicity, I am not showing the value of clock here, but whenever the clock comes, only then the transition can happen. The inputs are going to be J and K and the outputs are going to be Q, N plus 1, right? What does Q, N plus 1 mean? What is the next state of the output? Okay. Now, if the inputs are 0 and 0 to J and K, the output is going to be in memory state. That means Q1 plus N plus 1 is going to be the same as Qn. Okay. That means it is going to retain whatever is the previous value. If the previous value was 0, it will retain as 0. If the previous value was 1, it will remain as 1. Next, let us say if the inputs are 0 and 1, and when the clock comes, again I am saying the clock comes, though I am not showing here. So if it is 0 and 1, what the output should be? Yes, since k is 1, it has to clear the output. Means the output, irrespective of what its previous output was, the next output, which we call as Qn plus 1, is going to be 0 because I am doing a clear. Next, let us say if the inputs J and K are 1 and 0, then the output is going to be set, right? So irrespective of what the previous output was, the new output is going to be logic 1 or logic high. Finally, if both the inputs are 1 and 1, JK flip-flop goes into what we call as a toggle mode. What is toggle mode? Toggle mode means the new output is simply the complement of the previous output. If the previous output was Qn, then the new output is going to be Qn bar. For example, if the previous output was 0, the new output would be 0 bar, which is 1. If the previous output was 1, the new output is going to be 0. It's always a complement, or we are toggling its previous output. Now this is what we've already studied. You must be wondering, why is it that I am trying to tell this again, since it has already been covered. Now we are going to look at it in a slightly more different way. Now I am going to try to depict this. This is a typical what we call as a truth table. Now let us try to write a state transition table. What does a state transition table mean? Let me draw the table for that. Let us say if the present input is present output is Qn, the new output is Qn plus 1. Okay, then what should be the values of J and K? Okay, this is a very important thing. What am I trying to do? I am trying to now reverse the role. What is it that I am saying? I have a certain previous output. I am going to give a new output. Now for this to happen, what should be the values of J and K? That's a very interesting observation we have to make. Now let us say the previous value was 0, and let us say the next value it is continued to stay at 0. So what are the possibilities now? All of us will jump and say the possibilities, it's a memory state. So let both J and K be 0 and 0. But is there another possibility? Yes, another possibility is if K were to be 1, will it still be 0? What I am trying to say is, if J is 0 and K is 1, what will happen to the next output? The previous output was Qn. If I make K is 1, the next output is also going to be 0. That means I am going to clear. So the possibilities are for the transition to happen from 0 to 0, there is no transition actually, from 0 to 0, the values of j and k are 0 and it can either be 0 or it can be 1. So what we do in that case, we call this as don't care. What does don't care mean? It can either be 0 or it can be 1. Why is it that we use this notation? It will become more obvious once we do what we call as K-map simplifications. I'll come to that analysis as and when we reach there. But at present, don't care would mean whether it is at 0 or whether it is at 1, irrespective of that, if j is 0, then my output is going to remain at 0 if the previous output was 0. Now let us look at another possibility. If the previous output was 0 and the new output I want it to be 1, what are the possibilities? All of us will again jump and say, okay, the possibilities, it can be a toggle mode. That means what? I need to have both j and k as 1. If both j and k are 1, when the next clock comes, I keep saying that when the next clock comes, the output will toggle from 0 to 1. But is there another possibility here? Yes, there is. The possibility is, if k were to be 0, what will happen now? Look at this scenario now. I am having a scenario where j is 1, k is 0. So what will happen? Irrespective of what the previous output was, when the clock comes, it sees that j is 1, k is 0, it will go and set the output. Right? So the possibilities are j can be 1, the actual input possibilities for a transition of the output from 0 to 1 are j can be 1, k can be don't care. Exactly. So it can either be 1 or it can be 0. So I can call it as 1 and x. What are other possibilities now? The other possibilities are, if the previous output was 1, the next output I want it to be 0. Again, what are the possibilities? The first possibility is toggle mode. Toggle means both j and k would be at 1. Another possibility is, if the next output has to be 0 means I can clear. So for clear, what should be the thing? J has to be 0. If j is 0, k is 1, then I am going to clear the output. So this condition would result in as x and 1. J can be anything, but k has to be 1. If j is 1, it is 1 and 1, toggle mode, toggles. If j is 0, it is 0 and 1, it is a clear mode or a reset mode. Finally, the previous output was 1 and the next output also has to be 1. What are the possibilities? Memory, right? Both 0 and 0. The possibilities, both j and k are 0 and 0, or if I want the output to be 1, I have to make j as 1. If it is 1 and 0, that means I am setting the output. If it is 0 and 0 means I am returning the output. So the net result is j can be anything, but k has to be 0. So this is a very important, you can say, a corollary of our understanding of the way JK flip-flop works. We are going to use this state transition table in order to design our counter. That we'll see later. So first let us then try and say, now remember this is only for one flip-flop. Now let us write all the possible flip-flops that we have in our design and what are the possible inputs. So if we have 3 flip-flops, let us call them as C, B and A. So what is it going to be? I will call this as C, B and A. Okay, maybe I'll just try to make it a bit more closer so that we can use the entire board. Okay, we'll call this as C, B and A. Now, if you want to represent the current state, we will call it as Cn, Bn and An. Just like I would like to show here Qn and Qn plus 1, I would like to show Cn, Cn plus 1, Bn, Bn plus 1 and An plus 1. So let us then write Cn plus 1, Bn plus 1 and An plus 1. Okay. So this is going to be the possibility for my state transition table. So remember the state transition finite state machine diagram. If the initial state is 0, 0 and 0, what is the next state that we expect for a counter? If it is an up counter, it increments by 1. That means its value changes to 0, 0 and 1. Okay. Previous state is 0 for all the flip-flops, whereas the next state is C and B remains at 0 while the A flip-flop toggles to 1. So our job is to write the values of J and K for each of these flip-flops. So that is a challenge, right? So let us call this as JC and KC, right? Similarly, so these are the inputs which correspond to flip-flop C. Next, let us write the inputs which correspond to flip-flop B. I will call them as JB and KB, right? Finally, for the last flip-flop, which is my A flip-flop, I am going to write the values as JA and KA. So this would be our state transition table. Okay. Now let us look at them as one flip-flop at a time, that is bit by bit. Initially only concentrate on flip-flop C. The previous state is 0, the next state, okay, by previous I mean Cn, by next I mean Cn plus 1, as in the case of this state transition table that we have here. So if the previous state is 0, if the next state is 0, then what are the possible values of J and K? 0 and 0, the possible values are 0 and x. It's as simple as that. So the inputs at the J and K of flip-flop C are going to be 0 and don't care. Means it can either be 0 or it can be 1, as we have done here. I don't have to explain it again. Similarly, what about B? B starts with 0 and it stays at 0. So again it's a 0 and 0 which constitutes 0 and x. Finally, the last flip-flop, which is flip-flop A, the inputs were, the previous output was 0, the next output was 1. So if it is 0 and 1, the state transition table requires that the JK inputs be 1 and x. As per that, so I am going to write for A 1 and x, right? Now why is it that I am doing all this? My ultimate goal is to design a circuit. What does that circuit have? That circuit is going to have 3 flip-flops, and since it's a flip-flop, it is going to have the output and the inputs. The outputs are nothing but CBA, this being the present input, this being the next output, means the way it transitions. Similarly, JC and KC are the inputs for the flip-flop C, JB and KB are the inputs for the flip-flop B, JA and K are the inputs for flip-flop A. At the end of the day, we are going to decide how are we going to interconnect these flip-flops so that the entire circuit behaves in the way we want it to behave, like a mod 6 counter. Okay. So let's proceed then. I hope the first step is very clear. That means to transition from 0, 0, 0 to 0, 0, 1, these have to be the inputs for my 3 flip-flops. What's the next transition? Now, this 0, 0, 1 becomes my present input. Earlier 0, 0, 0 was a present input and 0, 0, 1 became next input. Now this becomes my present input. Now I am already at 0, 0, 1. Where do I transition next? So my next transition will be I increment by 1. So increment by 1 means what? From 0, 0, 1 I have to go to 2, which is 0, 1, 0. So again you have to repeat the procedure. What is the procedure? Write the values for JC, KC, JB, KB and JA, KA. So for flip-flop C, it's again 0 to 0. So 0 to 0 is again 0x. Okay. This time B is transitioning from 0 to 1. So it will be 1 and x. And C is transitioning from, A is transitioning from 1 to 0. So 1 to 0 is x and 1. So quickly we could do it, right? The first step took so much time. The second step was much faster. So let's quickly run through the remaining state transitions so that we can complete the design quickly. So this becomes the present state. This becomes the next state, which is 2 to 3. Okay. And then I'll go again, right? From 0 to 0, it's again 0x. From 1 to 1, it is x0. Okay. From 0 to 1, it is 1x. Next, present state is 3. The next count becomes 4. Okay. Again individually, 0 to 1 is 1x. 1 to 0 is x1. and finally this also is going from 1 to 0. So 1 to 0 is again x and 1. Now from 4 that becomes the current state, and the next state is 5, which is the last state, after which it goes back to 0. Now transition for C is from 1 to 1. So 1 to 1 is x0. Okay. For B it is 0 to 0, which is 0x, and for A it is 0 to 1. So 0 to 1 is 1 and x. Finally, what is the last transition? If the present state is 1 0 1, what should the next state be? Does it have to go from 5 to 6? No, it's a mod 6 counter. It has values from 0 to 5. After 5 it has to go back to 0. So the next state would be 0 0 0. So what are the JK values now? From 1 to 0 it is x1, okay. From 0 to 0 it is 0x, and finally from 1 to 0 it is x1. Then we don't have to repeat. Now this starts from here again. Now from 0 0 0 it again starts from here, and this table repeats. So I have to write 1 2 3 4 5 6 possible state transitions, and finally I could arrive at all the j and k values. Now our job is to find out, if I can just use this portion of the board to tell what it is. So my job is to find out what is JA, what is KA. Similarly, I have to find out what is JB value, what is KB value, and I have to find out what is JC and what is KC. So we will typically get some Boolean expressions for this that we have to implement as a circuit. So let's start with the easy one, which is trying to find out what is JA and KA. Now if you look at this column for JA and KA, okay, now my job is to solve for this, okay, I have to solve for this. Now just by mere observation we can figure out the entire JA, it is either 1 or x. Now the beauty of this x is I can interpret it as either 1 or I can interpret it as 0 based on my convenience. So in my case it would be convenient if I could assume this as 1. So if I assume this or take it as 1, then what will happen to all these values? My JA is always going to be 1. Yes or no? Because don't care, I can interpret it as 1 or as a 0. So if I take it as 1, then JA becomes 1. So your JA is done. So JA is 1 means what does that mean? You have to connect JA to plus VCC or logic high. That's all. Similarly, what about KA? Again the same case. All of them are either 1 or x. So what will I do? I'll interpret all the don't cares as 1, and then KA also becomes 1. So life has become very easy now, right? So for the first, I mean the the LSB, okay, A is the least significant bit flip-flop. For LSB, which is A, the values of J and K are both the flip-flop inputs are tied to VDD or sorry VCC. Okay, so that is done. Similarly now, can we solve for JB, KB, JC and KC? It won't be that easy. For that we will have to follow a method of what we call as Karnaugh map simplifications or K-map, which is as it is very popularly known as. Okay, so let us try to then solve for let us try to first solve for what we call as JC, right? So let's try to solve for JC next. So this is done. Let's now try to solve for JC. To solve for JC, all I have to do is put all these values in, take these two columns, okay, I just have to take these two columns now, this one and this one. That means present state and what the value of JC should be. So I'll put it in the form of a K map, okay. So for that I think we will not need this particular thing, so I'll just rub this part here, okay, and I'll try to draw all the K maps on top over here. So now it is a 3 variables, right? Basically I want to express JC as a function of C, B and A, because C, B and A are the input variables. How do I want to interconnect the inputs flip-flop from the outputs of the flip-flop? So for that I am going to construct a 3 variable K map. What does the 3 variable K map have? Okay, this is how it's going to be. Okay, so this is going to be a 3 variable K map, wherein you start with the MSB here, and then you have the LSBs, that is C is on this side, B and A are on that side. And what are the values here? I read this as 0 and 1. There are many different ways of doing it. Some of them write it as Cn bar and Cn. So you can write it as Cn bar and Cn also, different ways of interpreting it. And then we write these as 0 0, 0 1. Remember, it's a gray code, so it is 1 1 and then 1 0. Some of the books, they write it as Bn bar An bar, Bn bar An, Bn An and Bn An bar. We choose to write it as 0 and 1. Why do we do that? If we do this method, it becomes very easy to interpret from here to here. Okay, so now just observe this column for JC. When the inputs are 0, 0 and 0, what is the value for JC? 0. So all I have to do is find out where it is 0, 0 and 0. It is this box. So for this box, all I have to do is write this value. It will be 0. Next, for 0, 0, 1, what it should be? Again 0. Next, for 0, 1, 0, it is again 0. But where is 0, 1, 0? It is here. Okay, you can't write 0, 1, 0 here because it is 0, 1, 0 is here. So 0, 1, 0 value is 0, that I have to write here. Next, 0, 1, 1, the value is 1. So 0, 1, 1, the value is 1. Next, 1, 0, 0, the value is x for 1, 0, 0. For 1, 0, 1, again the value is x. So for 1, 0, 1, the value is x. Now in our design, we do not have the case where the present state goes to 1, 1, 1 or 1, 1, 0. Why? Because it's a mod 6 counter. But since we have to fill up this, we straight away go and use the don't care. Means I don't care whether it is 0 or 1, because anyway I am not going to be in that state and I am not going to use those inputs at all. So this becomes your K map for solution for JC in terms of variables C, B and A. Now our job is to apply the K map simplification rules and arrive at an expression. Okay. So typically we are going to employ what we call as sum of min terms. Okay. It's just a repetition as to what you have done in the earlier sessions. So basically what does sum of min terms mean? I can express the solution for JC. Now this is for JC, right? Now I can express JC as sum of min terms made up of C, B and A. For example, the value could be JC is equal to CBA ORed with C bar AB ORed with C bar A bar B bar, whatever it could be. So that's called as sum of min terms. Okay. But the benefit of having this K maps is you can simplify it to whichever way you want. You can merge the boxes together and eliminate the variables. For example, each term here, like for example, each term here is represented by 3 variables. Now this is represented by variable C, B and A, both, all the 3. Now if we can merge 2 blocks, then we can eliminate 1 variable. If we can merge 4 blocks, we can eliminate 2 variables. So, and if we can merge all of them, which happened in case of this, there are no variables, it's a constant. So let us then try to see how we can merge these ones. I am interested only in sum of min terms, so I will only concentrate with ones. If it was some product of max terms, then we combine the zeros. So our job is include all the ones in the design. So if I use this one here, then I'll end up writing it as Cn bar and AB, BA. Instead, what will I do is, I will mix that with this box here. In the sense, I have interpreted this x as now 1, so that I will merge these two, which can allow me to eliminate 1 variable. Now, what is that variable? Again, I will tell you another simple way in which you can do this. Okay, so normally how do we write is, okay, so this we can write it as Cn bar and Cn. Okay, 0 stands for Cn bar and 1 stands for Cn. Now, wherever the first term is 1, okay, so where is the first term 1? In this column and in this column the first term is 1. So that corresponds to your second variable b. So I will mark these two columns as those belonging to Bn. Similarly, the last term, which is for An, find the columns where it is 1. So An is 1 in this column and An is 1 in this column. So I will mark these two columns as An. Okay. So I will mark these two columns as An. So what I basically done is I have identified these two columns belong to Bn, these two columns belong to An, and this column belongs to Cn. Now all you have to do is merge this and come out with an expression. Now if you look at this box, where does this box belong to? That will be my question. First, does it belong to Cn? No, it is also there in Cn bar. So I can't take Cn. So Cn is a variable which is automatically eliminated because it is there both in Cn as well in Cn bar. So eliminate that variable. Then next, where is it? Is it in Bn? The answer is yes. Yes, it falls in Bn. But does it completely fall in Bn? No. It only falls in Bn wherever there is An also. Because An belongs to these two, Bn belongs to these two. This is the only column where both B and A belong. So I can write the expression as Bn ANDed with An. It's very similar to, though the analogy can be wrong, very similar to trying to say what is the intersection of two sets. Okay, there is a set of Bn here, there is a set of An here. My box is intersection of these two. So in logical terms, I can write it as Bn ANDed with An. So finally, the expression for JC then becomes, okay, the expression for JC then becomes Bn times An. Okay, why? Because I could merge these two blocks. So this is how you can solve for Kc. So what else is left now? What is left is we have to repeat the procedure for Kc, we have to repeat the procedure for JB, and we have to repeat the procedure for KB. So we will do that quickly. It should not be taking much time for us to do it. I will utilize this side of the board for that. Okay. Next, again it's a 3 variable. Again I am going to write. This time I am going to write the expression for. I am going to write the expression for Kc. Okay. So again I will write it as Cn, Bn, An, 0, 1, okay, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. Okay, that's what the 4 variables are. Now, what are these values? Straight away go on writing. When it is 0, 0, 0, it is x and so on. So 0, 0, 0 is x, x, third is x, remember third is there, fourth is also x. Okay, what about the fifth one? It is 1, 0, 0. So fifth one is 0, 1, 0, 1 is 1. The rest all are don't care. Okay, so we are going to have a K-map for the input Kc in terms of variables C, B and A. Okay, now we have to merge. If possible 2, if possible 4. Because just taking 1 would mean I have to take all Cn, this is by Bn and this is my An. Okay. So if I merge these two, I will be able to eliminate one variable which is Cn, but can I not merge these 4? Yes, I can. Why? Because all these I don't care. If I interpret them as 1, so I will have 4 ones here. So if we group 4 of them, which we call as a quartet, okay, this was a duplex, that was a quartet, so I will be able to eliminate 2 variables. Now what does this box belong to? This box belongs purely to An. Why? Because both these columns were belonging to An. So I can straight away go and say my expression for Kc is An. Yes or no? That was very simple. The expression for Jc was Bn An, whereas expression for Kc was only An. So what is left now? Jb as well as Kb. So I will use the same area here and just retain the expressions which we have done here. Okay, so that we can solve it and we can understand using a K-map simplification how is it that we can do this. Okay, so this was done, Jc is done, this is the expression for Jc, Kc is done, expression for Kc. What is left is Jb and Kb. So I will draw the K-map simplification boxes for both, and let us see how it leads to. So as and when you practice this, this becomes very easy. So Cn, Bn, An. Always remember, C is the MSB, whereas A is the LSB. 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. So this belongs to Cn, this belongs to, okay, we wrote it this way, right? So this belongs to Bn, and these two belong to An. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. Now I have to fill it up with the variables, the value for Jb. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Okay, so for 0 it is 0, 1, then for 2 it is x, so 2 is here. For 3 it is again x. For 4 it is 0, and for 5 also it is 0. So for 4 it is 0, and for 5 also it is 0. Rest all will be don't care. So how I can merge this now? I have to include 1. I can't merge them vertically as I did earlier. Now I have to merge them horizontally. Okay, see here, this way. So what am I doing now? I am taking this x as 1. Now you should say, why am I doing this? The moment you merge something, you eliminate one variable. In the sense, you want to simplify the expression. Okay, so this will now become what? Is it only A? No, we have to eliminate two variables. So we should say whether it is in Cn or Cn bar. Yes, it is in Cn bar. Okay, so your expression for Jb would be, it is not in Cn, it is in Cn bar. Okay, and it is in An. Okay, so it is going to be Cn bar and An. So that is going to be the expression for your Jb. Finally, we will now do it for Kb. So this is going to be the last block that we are going to draw. It may sound a bit lengthy the way we are doing it, but believe me, it's a very methodical approach that we are trying to follow, and unless and until we lose our concentration, we will make mistakes. Otherwise, it's a very easy. So never let your guard off when you're trying to solve any problems. Okay, it's always the last steps that we do the simplest of the mistakes, create those blunders, and then end up doing the wrong results. Okay, so the last one, have the patience. It's Kb now. I write an expression for Kb. So 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. Okay, so this was for Cn, this was for Bn, and these two columns are for An. Okay, so now I'm going to write, this is for this one Kb. 0, 1, both are x. 2 is 0, 2 is 0, 1, 0 here. 3 is 1, 4 is x, 5 is x. These two not there, so go ahead and do it as x. Now how many can you merge? 2? Yes. 4? Definitely yes. So I'll go ahead and make it as a quartet, which is a group of 4. So what does this now become? It again becomes your An, as was the case in case of Kc. So your expression for Kb is also An. So, okay, so these become our final expressions, which I am trying to show here with the square boxes. Okay, just in case I missed something. Okay, Jc was Bn An, Kc was An, Jb was Cn bar An, Kb was An, and J and K were both 1. So by doing this now, we have now solved the entire logic equation with respect to the inputs for the flip-flop in terms of the outputs C, B and A. So the only job now is to build a circuit and make the interconnections, which we are going to see in the next slide over here. So how is it that we are going to do that? It's a very simple exercise. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so this is That's wonderful. Good. Okay, so these were the 4 K-maps that we have done. These are the 4 K-maps that we had already done. So where we got these expressions for JC, KC, JB and KB. Okay. Yes, there you go. So this is the eventual circuit, and let's try to sort of dissect this bit by bit and understand how the circuit was done. The first part of the design problem was identifying the 3 flip-flops. All of them are going to be the JK flip-flops. Okay, so this is flip-flop for LSB, which is A. Okay, this is the flip-flop for A, this is the flip-flop for B, and this is the flip-flop for C. So what were our design equations? Our design equations said JA and KA were both logic high. So what have we done? We have connected them to 1, which is logic high. What about JB? JB was given as CN bar AN. That means what? I require one two input AND gate. Do I require inverter to get CN bar? Not necessary. Why? Because all these flip-flops have a true output as well as a complement output. So where do I get my CN bar? I am getting my CN bar here. So I will take CN bar, okay, and I am going to AND it with AN and give that to your JB, because that was the equation. JB was CN bar ANDed with AN. What was KB? KB was nothing but AN. So AN I am also giving it here to KB. What about the last flip-flop that we have to worry about, which is flip-flop C? So what was the value for JC? JC was an AND of BN and AN. So again you require a simple AND gate. Okay, you are going to take the B from here and A is going to be taken from here again. Okay, so this is where you are going to take the A from. So that's what the circuit is going to do. So you want to take A from the output of first flip-flop, AND it with the output of the second flip-flop. Ignore this part here, it's a small correction here. So then give that to JC. So what does that mean now? We are left with only KC. And what was KC? Again it was nothing but AN. So what am I doing? KC, and again I am giving it to AN. So this way you can see here, we are able to make these connections for all the flip-flops. And what is the last thing that is left? The last thing that is left is connecting the clock input for all these flip-flops. Now we have taken negative edge triggered flip-flops and clocked all of them simultaneously. That means these are all synchronous counters. See here, I am going to give the clock to all of them simultaneously. That means all the flops change the state at the same time. That's the meaning of a synchronous counter. So if you can see here, this is what the entire flip-flop is, or the entire counter is, which is a mod 6 counter. So how was synthesis done? We just have to follow a methodical approach, and straight away it yields us the most optimum solution. When can you get the most optimum solution? If you solve the K-maps diligently. Try to eliminate as many variables as possible so that you can form the duplets, you can form the quadrats, you can also form the octets if you want, and eliminate as many variables as you can so that your logic expression becomes much more simpler. So all this is done, then how is it that you are going to cascade these counters? Remember, counters are seldom used in isolation. Okay, you always tie them up with multiple counters and develop a cascade of counters. In our case, all I need to know is when it resets from 6 back to 0. So I have to identify the condition when all the flip-flops are 0. That would mean that I have done one overflow. That's what I want, right? From 6 go back to 0 means I have now overflowed once, or it's a carry out. So how to generate a carry out? I have to generate a carry out the moment all the outputs are 0. So if all the outputs are 0, what happens to the complement outputs? All the complement outputs would be 1. That is what we are doing here. So what we are doing here is we are taking the output of, we are taking the complement output, sorry, we are taking the complement output of all the flip-flops. Okay, so we are taking A bar here, we are taking A bar, okay, we are taking B bar, and then we are also taking C bar. So when all of them are 0, Now all the complement outputs would be 1, 1 and 1. So Y will be 1 only when your flip-flop outputs are 0, 0, 0. Why? Because in this case the complement outputs were 1, 1, 1. So if I choose an AND gate here with the complement output as the inputs, then I'll get Y is equal to 1 whenever the flip-flop overflows. So this completes the entire synthesis. By synthesis, what do we mean is, I do not know how the actual circuit is going to look like. I don't have to do the trial and error. I don't have to think about options. All I have to do is follow a methodical approach which will eventually yield me the most optimum circuit. That is what is called as design as a synthesis problem. So with that, I think we come to the end of this particular session. So what is it that we had done? Frankly speaking, just one agenda we had. The agenda was to design a counter using FSM technique. Deliberately I have chosen the blackboard technique here so that we are able to teach the points one by one, look at the transition tables one by one, and some slightly new ideas compared to some old ideas which you have already used. So you do not have to get confused with the various methods applied elsewhere. Whatever methods you choose, it's good enough. I tried my best here to try and give something which can be much more methodical and easier to remember and much more optimal in terms of solution. So that's it for me. So let's see again in the next session wherein we're going to deal with the D to A converters and the A to D converters. Thank you.